And welcome to Around the Ozarks Spotlight. Each week we uncover the stories behind the people who live and work here in Southwest Missouri. Those individuals with entrepreneurial spirit who work to better the lives of others or put pen to paper to write books about the stories and the history of the people of the Ozarks and what they do for a living. I'm your host, Scott Meier, and today we're going to explore the world of enjoying all that the Ozarks has to offer as we offer you, Madison Horner, and Jeff Wilhoit. Did I get that right?
Yes, sir.
All right, Jeff, good. And they're coming to us from Big Cedar Lodge. Now, Big Cedar Lodge encompasses a lot of things. Let's first of all tell the folks what we do. Jeff, your your position there is?
Well, I work in marketing, so I host a lot of VIPs that come, and I make a lot of videos for social media and do a lot of fun stuff at Big Cedar.
Oh, I bet. And we'll get into that a little bit. And Madison Horner, tell the folks who you are and what you do.
Yes, I'm the public relations manager for Big Cedar Lodge. So I handle all of the media inquiries. If we have a media event, I will help coordinate that, as well as the storytelling aspect of Big Cedar. So sending out a lot of local media pushes, making sure people are just in the know about what's going on here.
You know, it's Big Cedar is one of those places that we've only lived in the Ozarks ourselves about 8 years. And when folks come to visit, one of the first places we take them is around your place so people can get a real sense of what the Ozarks beauty is all about. But why don't we back it up a little bit? Let's talk about the history, if we can, of Big Cedar Lodge. Who wants to go first?
You want me to take it?
Jeff, take it away.
Yeah, the history is very interesting. You know, it all started back in 1921. Harry and Dorothy Warman built a beautiful country home. They lived in Springfield, actually.
Okay.
That was their main home, and Harry Warman was the CEO of Frisco Railways. But they wanted a country house, and this would have been mid-20s. And so they found some property down here. Again, Table Rock Lake was not here. It was just a hay field. And so they built a country home, beautiful home. They had their own train that would take them from Springfield down here to the country home, and it was a beautiful time. They lived here for 7 years, and at the end of 7 years, they got a divorce, and Dorothy ran off to Mexico, actually.
Okay, Olay.
Yes, and so then she passed away, and then Harry passed away, and then the property became Devil's Pool Guest Ranch, and it was kind of like a dude ranch. City folks would come out, and they would be on horseback, and they would go horseback riding and do all kinds of square dancing and stuff. And then it became a lot of different things until 1987, when Johnny Morris was the founder of Bass Pro Shops, was wanting to give customers that had just purchased a new tracker boat, or some of the employees that work for Bass Pro, wanted to give them a place that they could come and relax. And so he was out driving around, couldn't find anything, called his wife, and his wife, Jeannie, said, you know, I just saw this ad in the Springfield News Leader paper, and I gave him the directions on how to get out to this property. He looked at it, didn't know anything about the history, but just fell in love with it. And all these old buildings. And so they began fixing it up, and in June of 1988, it opened as Big Cedar Lodge.
You know, that's an amazing history. That's a book in itself. Is there a book out there, a coffee table book with that history?
Yeah, we sell it at our gift shop. It's called The History of Devil's Pool.
Wow, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
It must be nice to own your own railroad.
Yes. Yes. Made it very convenient. They actually brought in food from all over the U.S. Because Harry had access to the Frisco Railroad. And so they had their own train, and they had their own chauffeurs that would go to the Hollister train depot, pick them up, and then bring them out here. So it was great to have. They had their own chef out here. They had their first running water and electric lights in this area.
Is that right? When did when did Table Rock actually fill in? When did they do that?
1948.
So they were sitting in a prairie, basically. The house was overlooking that beautiful area, but no water at the time.
Right. So some people say that they did find out where the Corps of Engineers was going to build Table Rock Lake.
Sure.
And that's why they positioned their house that way. They just didn't know it was going to be delayed until 1948.
You know, it's interesting, and obviously we don't know the exact history, but I got to believe a guy in his position, in Harry's position, probably had a pretty good idea of what was going to happen. And if it wasn't going to happen the way he wanted it to happen, maybe he could make that alteration just a little bit.
Right.
So the house wasn't underwater.
Right.
So Johnny Morse has owned it since the mid 80s. You touched on something else, Jeff, that was really interesting. So when people bought a bass tracker boat, they were able to stay at Big Cedar?
Yes, they were going to be able to, but he decided right before in 1988, he decided to put an ad in the Bass Pro catalog. And then, of course, we all know what happened. The phone started ringing off the hook once people started seeing these pictures in the catalog. And so that was very short-lived, and it was open to the public from that point on.
That's amazing. Now, Madison, your job being public relations for a place like that, I would guess that could either be a very, very busy job or a really easy job. Which is it? Or is it both?
It's definitely very busy. We always say that you'll never be bored at Big Cedar Lodge when you work here. There's always something new coming, different plans in the works. So it's the best job in the world, getting to highlight the beauty of the Ozarks. And, you know, something, Jeff, we were with the history aspect, we recently launched history tours because there was a lot of guests that were coming to Big Cedar that were interested in learning more about the history. So now we have guided tours where it takes them through all of those buildings and they get to learn more about it.
Oh, that's great. My guests today on Around the Ozarks Spotlight are Jeff Wilhoit. Let me make sure I get it right. Wilhoit.
You're correct.
Okay, Jeff Wilhoit and Madison Horner. Madison, thank you for having a really easy name to remember. Both are from Big Cedar Lodge. Now, folks listening to the program, I would guess many have probably been down to Big Cedar, or maybe they haven't in a while. Last time, well, not last time, one of the last times we were there, we had some friends down from Detroit. And I wanted to hit some golf balls on the lighted course, which we were able to do. And it wasn't long after that they discovered something there. And now it looks like that driving range has disappeared. Can you tell us about that?
Absolutely. So in 2015 was actually when that all opened up. You can kind of give the background of that. But it was early in the morning when some workers called Johnny, I believe, and said, hey, this sinkhole has opened up, and you can kind of fill in the rest. It's quite the story.
Yeah. So it was May 15th of 2015, and we had 2 days of rain, and a sinkhole opened up at 6:30 in the morning. And all the water out there, if you remember, when you went up there to hit some golf balls, there was a big lake up there. And so all the water out of that lake drained out a cave a mile from there.
Really?
Yes. So they knew there was some connection. So they called and told Johnny that this it was about a 40-foot wide sinkhole, wasn't very deep, that it had opened up. And so he wanted to, if we would have worked hard on it, probably by the next day, we would have had it filled in and nobody would have known anything happened. But he decided, let's dig and see where all that water went. So they started digging, and they are still digging today from May of 2015. And it's now 210 feet deep. They've excavated 192,000 dump truck loads of dirt.
Oh, my goodness.
Let me say that again. 192,000 dump trucks. It's unbelievable how much they've excavated. So now they call it the Cathedral of Nature, and they still have not found the connection of how all that water went out of that
even
cave.
With all that digging, they still can't tell.
No.
Now, when you go there, we were just there a couple of weeks ago. When you drive in there and you see what they've excavated, what's the plan? What's the next plan?
Yes, so they are very busy. Starting about 2 weeks ago, they started just excavating even more. And so the plan is to hopefully get it open soon. And eventually it will connect to the Cave of Nature Trail that's up there. So, if you've ever been on the Cave of Nature Trail, it's an amazing 2.5 mile experience that on an electric cart that takes you through the Ozarks. So that will hopefully connect to that, and you'll be able to actually go inside the Cathedral of Nature. And I got to tell you, when you're down in there, it's like you're in the Grand Canyon. It's incredible.
From above, it looks like that.
Yes.
Yeah. Go ahead, Madison.
A few drones through there that I've been able to see some of the footage, and it's unreal.
Yeah, it's fascinating. It really is. Now, I think there was a time when there was a hotel that was planned to be built there.
Yes, and we still have those plans in the works. So hopefully that will happen soon.
Oh, really? Okay. All right. So, so much history. Now, the obviously the driving range is gone.
Yes.
and or all the balls are down in that hole. It's one or the other.
Yes.
But
we are building a new huge putting green up there, and they just started 2 weeks ago constructing that, and so hopefully that will be done soon. We've extended the tunnel even that you drive your golf carts through to get to some of the holes. So that will hopefully be sodded sometime soon, and hopefully by this fall that putting green will be open.
Is that right?
Driving range, that part is now that's the sinkhole now.
It is. It really is the sinkhole, and it's not too bad. I don't want to make it sound like it's a horrible thing, but that driving range was really magnificent, and the good Lord had other plans.
Yeah, in fact, I believe in 2017 it won best practice facility in the U.S.
Well, it's silly me. I always thought the little ponds on that course were real until I saw the ball retriever drive through them, and there was no water. So it's and at night, it was fascinating.
Yeah.
Now there's so much to see and do up there. You want to walk us through we've got a little time before the break, but let's talk about we're just coming off of winter and we're into early spring. What's happening up there, or down there? I guess I should say.
We have so much going on. I personally love the spring and summer at Big Cedar the best, when everyone starts getting back outdoors. I think as we head into the next season, it's so much fun because so many people will be heading over to the marinas. We have 2 full service marinas on property, Bent Hook Marina and Long Creek Marina. So families can rent out some boats, relax on the Big Cedar Beach, or even go paddle boating, canoeing. There's so much fun. And then of course there's Fun Mountain, where most of our families could spend hours upon hours. It's 50,000 square foot of just endless fun with underwater bowling, go-karts, Timber Ridge ropes course as well. So just so much fun to do for families of all, or people of all ages.
Now, is that the area that was being built a few years ago? Is that what we're talking about?
It is fairly new.
Yeah, it opened in 2018.
Right. And you said underwater bowling?
Underwater themed bowling.
Makes it more difficult, Scott.
I'm trying to picture that. How does that work exactly?
There's 16.
So you put a diving suit on.
Yeah.
And the sharks swimming around, is that just to make it a little tougher?
Like the ball returns are different sea creatures like sharks and octopus, and so it's all themed like you're underwater.
That's fascinating. We're really blessed here in the Ozarks, obviously, Springfield especially, because there's so much to see and do, not only around the Springfield area, but when you go 40 miles south. Do you feel like you get your just due from the folks that live and work in Springfield and the surrounding communities, when we have that much recreation, fun recreation, different recreation, so close?
I think a lot of people would be surprised if they came down here. And the great thing is almost all of our activities are open to the public, so you don't have to be staying at Big Cedar. So especially Fun Mountain's a perfect spot for locals or folks from Springfield to drive down and take advantage of it. There's so much to do just in that one area.
Do you get a sense when you sometimes walk and stroll through the parking lots that you're seeing a lot of people from Southwest Missouri there, or are they just people from all over the country?
I would say people from all over. You definitely have some locals, especially around the seasons, when we head into Cedar Fest in the fall, and of course the winter season with Christmas, you're going to see more locals coming in because they can hop on some of the trams and go see all the lights. So I think seasonally you're going to see a little bit more of the local draw for certain events that we're hosting.
Well, we're about going into break. My guests are Jeff and Madison, both representing Big Cedar Lodge, not that far away when you're from or living in the city of Springfield. It's only about 45-minute drive. We're going to talk a little bit about what's coming up for the rest of the summer and fall. You're listening to Around the Ozarks Spotlight. I'm your host, Scott Meier. We'll be back in just a moment.
Hey, everybody, it's Ethan and Sarah Forhetz from your favorite podcast, Around the Ozarks in 5. I'm sure you've been wondering, how can I get even more amazing stories, events, and witty banter to start my day?
Well, look no further. Here we are. Sign up for our daily newsletter. You'll have what's going on around the Ozarks right at your fingertips each weekday morning.
Yeah, just go to aroundtheozarks.com, click on the newsletter tab to sign up.
Thanks for listening to Around the Ozarks in 5. We hope to see you in your inbox soon.
Welcome back to the second half of today's Around the Ozarks Spotlight. I'm your host, Scott Meier. With me, Jeff Wilhoit, who's the head of marketing. Is that fair, Jeff? Head of marketing for Big Cedar Lodge.
I would just say I work in marketing. I don't know about
marketing. Okay, not the head. Okay, you support the head. You're part of the body of the head of marketing.
But I can't believe they pay me. It's unbelievable.
Jeff,
I get to have
hats.
fun every single day here.
Well, you seem like it. You seem like this is early in the morning, and you get a big smile. I'm impressed by that. And Madison Horner. Madison is your left hand, your right hand in the public relations department for Big Cedar. I want to thank her for reaching out. Quite frankly, because it was a couple of emails that I got here a while ago that were raising attention to some of the things that are happening currently at Big Cedar Lodge. And again, you touched on it a minute ago, Jeff. I think some people, certainly in Southwest Missouri, think if you're not staying at Big Cedar Lodge, these things aren't available to you. And that's not true.
That's correct. There's so much to do. For instance, my favorite thing at the entire resort is our Natural History Museum at Top of the Rock. I think I watch people every day just kind of walk by that that entrance because it's a very unassuming entrance, and they would think there's probably nothing down there. It's probably the greatest museum in the Midwest. It's 40,000 square feet underground, and we have some of the most incredible artifacts of Native Americans, Civil War artifacts, Western artifacts. Like the flag that was draped over Lincoln's casket at his funeral. The Smithsonian has one flag that was on the funeral train. We have the other flag. Lincoln's hair, Lincoln's desk. I mean, those are just George Washington's saddle that he rode on during the Revolutionary War. I mean, things like that are iconic historical artifacts that are right there.
Right.
So I think people would be greatly surprised if they went through that incredible museum, and it would take you a couple hours just to see it.
I'm not sure Johnny Morris has ever done anything halfway. I've never had a chance to meet the man, but like Wonders of Wildlife, I mean, everything is bigger than life. And I've been through that museum, and I must tell you, set aside a couple of hours, because if you want to take the time to take the time and read about all the things that are down there, I'm a huge history buff. And as you said, you can't imagine what's there until you actually go down and walk through it and get a chance to stop and read and see and feel all the things that are there. It's phenomenal.
Yep, it really is.
What does that cost for a family?
I think so. Now they just changed the pricing structure. When you do the Lost Canyon Cave and Nature Trail, that ticket comes with it for the museum.
Oh, really? Okay.
And I want to say if you just do the museum by yourself, I think without the cave trail, I think it's $12, I believe.
Okay, so it's not a big outlay of cash, especially with a family. If you're interested, like I say, in history, or at least understanding this part of the country, because that's the beauty of it. It really brings to life what went on in this part of the country 150 years ago.
Yes.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. Plus, you've also got some dinosaur bones there, which are kind of fun to see as well.
Yes.
And a bear that's bigger than all life. I mean, that thing, I'm glad those aren't hanging around Missouri anymore.
The giant mammoth when you walk in.
Yes, we have a woolly mammoth right when you walk in.
Yeah.
So
it's phenomenal. You know, the other part I think that sometimes people forget about is something as simple as having a cool beverage sitting on the patio overlooking the pool that overlooks Table Rock Lake. I mean, that's an iconic picture. You've got the Lost Tears bronze that's right there in the pool as well. But can we speak to that a little bit about the things you can do as you're just walking around the area of Big Cedar?
Oh yeah, tell them about the sunset ceremony. It's an incredible experience. If you've never experienced sunset ceremony, it's incredible.
Absolutely. So at Top of the Rock, we have 3 restaurants: Arnie's Bar, an Osage restaurant, and then the Buffalo Bar. And every night at 6 p.m., they fire off a real Civil War era
At sunset.
At sunset. And it's just the most beautiful thing. It's overlooking Table Rock Lake at the highest point in Taney County.
Yeah.
If you haven't experienced it, you must.
It's so beautiful. That must be that cannon that sits down by the chapel.
Yes.
Okay, so the thing really works.
It does.
It does. They fire it every night, right at sunset.
Right at sunset.
Now that chapel is also available for rent. Folks can rent and either renew their vows, or do they actually have weddings there as well?
We have tons of wedding across Big Cedar property. We have a wedding right here in the main property, and then top of the rock, and they're spread out.
We have four
Four.
chapels.
Oh, there are 4 chapels.
Yeah, there's
Where-
one at Dogwood. There's one here at Big Cedar. There's one at Top of the Rock, and there's one called Integrity Hills that's very close to Big Cedar.
Now,
Now, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
the one at top of the rock, the way it overlooks Table Rock Lake in the actual chapel area, it's unbelievable.
Oh, it really is. I mean, it's a once in a lifetime. If there's an 8th or 9th or 10th wonder of the world, just standing up in that area and looking out over the lake is amazing. It's just amazing. Love that. Just love that. So is Dogwood Canyon part of Big Cedar? Is that something that you all are still involved in as well, or is that simply just one more extension of Johnny's empire?
Dogwood Canyon is part of the Johnny Morris Foundation property.
Okay.
So just a few miles down the road, there's so much to do there as well. Biking, there are Jeep tram tours. We have a beautiful restaurant there as well. So it's just another extension of how people can really connect to the outdoors, with fun family activities.
Now, it appears that you've added some additional housing for rent at Big Cedar. Is that fair?
We have.
We've added several more cottages, including the new 4-bedroom cottages, and those are spectacular. We've also added those same 4-bedroom cottages and 2-bedroom cottages out at our Paynes Valley Golf Course.
Oh, really? Okay. Now, so Paynes Valley is part of Big Cedar Lodge? I'm just trying to get my head around all the things that are separate from or part of under your perusal, both of yours perusal.
We don't have enough time to talk about all the things at Big Cedar Lodge. So yes, we have 5 golf courses, and so 4 of those are out by Paynes Valley. Of course, Paynes Valley was designed by Tiger Woods, and it's incredibly popular right now, and it includes not only 18 holes designed by Tiger, but one at the very end designed by Johnny Morris, and it's the 19th hole. And a lot of people are saying it's the most incredible, iconic hole in all of golf.
Absolutely.
So if you've never seen it, it's quite an experience to see that hole. And then, of course, we have Ozarks National, which was designed by Core and Crenshaw. And then we have Mountaintop, designed by Gary Player. And then Tom Fazio designed Buffalo Ridge. And there's live buffalo out near the first hole. So that's really cool. And then, of course, the 9-hole par 3, Top of the Rock.
Which is amazing. We saw an event there a couple of years ago, and a number of professionals were playing. It's
Right.
What is that called? What do they play up there when they have?
That's called Top of the Rock.
No, but the event.
Oh, that was called Legends of Golf.
Okay, does that happen every other year?
So the last one we had was 2019.
Okay, so are they projecting anything going forward, or was that kind of a one-off?
Madison, you want to tell them what's coming up?
Yeah, so this September it's on September 11th, we will be hosting the Heroes Cup, and that is going to be, is it going to be similar to Legends?
It's kind of similar to Legends, but the twist on it is it's 12 heroes. So it's going to be a lot of retired Navy SEALs and Delta Force, a lot of special forces, guys that have been in incredible battles. And then 12 celebrity superstars. So we've got a lot of big names coming, and hopefully we can announce this soon, but a lot of big stars, and then it will all be televised. So we're
Oh, is that right? Okay.
super
So I'll have to have you back to talk about that. It sounds like a huge event.
yeah.
When
It's-
when do you think you'll be able to talk a little bit more about it?
Hopefully very, very soon. They're finalizing some of the details on the celebrities that are coming, but we're super excited. And yes, we'd love to come back and talk about it. The neat thing about this whole thing, though, is all the money raised is going to support the new Medal of Honor Museum that's being built outside of Cowboy Stadium in Arlington, Texas.
Really?
So they're, since the Civil War, Lincoln gave out the very first Medal of Honor. And there's not very many living Medal of Honor winner recipients right now. I think there's only 64 that are living. And so they are building this incredible museum that right now they're building it. And so all the proceeds from this tournament will go to support that museum. It's the very first museum. There's never been a museum to house all the Medal of Honor winners. So we're very excited about partnering with them.
Now, we always try to get a chance to let folks that work with or work for Johnny Morris to say a little something about what that's like. Do either one of you want to touch on that? Because it sounds like it's pretty special.
It is. It definitely is. I have met Johnny only twice now, but every time you meet him, I mean, he's truly the most humble man. Despite all of the success that he's had, he is just very down to earth, and he has such a passion for all of his properties and for conservation, and is just one of a kind. He is.
Yeah. And I've been very fortunate to work with him for 23 years and get to travel a lot with him. So I get to kind of be the fly on the wall when the cameras aren't on him to see how he acts. And I got to tell you, he is the most incredible person I've ever met. His work ethic is second to none. He gets up, 4:30 in the morning and starts working. And he's so kind and so humble and does so much that most people would never, ever hear about. It does it very quietly behind the scenes, helping our veterans and heroes that are coming back from battles and just doing incredible things behind the scenes, especially for conservation. A lot of people say that he's done more for conservation than anybody, maybe except Teddy Roosevelt. So, and he's basically the Walt Disney of the outdoors. So it's pretty incredible to watch him work and see the things that he's making and building around the Ozarks. And the cool thing is, it's for us to enjoy. He's doing all this for us to enjoy. So it's pretty special.
It really is. And, you get a sense of that whenever you even go to Bass Pro Shop. I mean, just the folks that are working there, everybody just feels like they're part of Johnny's vision. And that says a lot about a CEO and owner, and says a lot about all of you, that you believe in him and believe in his vision and the things that they're doing. Before we run out of time, Madison, anything you want to touch on specifically as we come into June and July and August? And it's hard to even say that already since it's early May, but we are.
It's flying by so fast. I can't believe it's already May. But I would just like to add one of my favorite, and I think some of the coolest accommodations that have reopened recently at Big Cedar that people should check out is our glamping units. It takes your traditional camping experience and just elevates it.
Yeah, that's where the word glamping comes from.
Yes, definitely. But it still allows families to connect with nature because it overlooks Table Rock Lake. And as they step outside of their luxurious camping unit, they still get to have the traditional camping experience of bonfires and, sitting around with family and talking and stargazing and all of the fun things. So definitely check those out if you get a chance this summer.
And those new places to rent, Jeff, are those available, or are they all booked up now till the end of the year?
We have some available. Just go to bigcedar.com and those are on there. Those new 4-bedroom units are under exclusive accommodations. And then the other golf accommodations are under the title golf accommodations. So you got to check those out. There's virtual tours of them, and you won't believe what they look like inside. They are pretty special. Some of them even have their own pool and putting greens.
Oh, that's pretty sweet.
Yes.
Now we didn't manage one last thing. We've got a minute here left to talk about it. But when you're taking one of the electric carts around the trail up at Big Cedar, we forget there's a place you can stop and imbibe for a moment if you so desire. And sometimes I'm not sure people realize that that's available.
It's probably the world's only drive-through bar in a cave, right? So
cave, that's right.
It's inside of a cave. It's called the Bat Bar. A lot of great drinks. And we have, if you've not been there recently, Scott, we've got new drinks that are in our own special cans that are really cool.
Have not, and we'll have to try that. It's again, to reiterate, when you live and work around Springfield itself, and realize that we were just down in the Branson area, I don't know, 3 weeks ago to see a show. You forget it's right there, and there's so much to see and do. Not that there isn't things to see and do in Springfield, but we're talking about an hour drive or less than an hour drive to get to see all that Johnny Morris has to offer in that area. Especially the views just driving up to the lodge itself.
Right. And we didn't even speak about Thunder Ridge Arena. In September, we've got the PBR coming to the brand new Thunder Ridge Arena where Garth Brooks opened it up last year. So we're very excited to have the Missouri Thunder back again at Thunder Ridge. So you'll have to come down and see that. That's September 15th.
Absolutely. Jeff and Madison, I want to thank you both for being my guest today. We'll have you back. There's so much to see and do at Big Cedar that you two seem to have it all figured out, and you can help share it with our listeners. I want to thank all of you today who have had a chance to listen and view Around the Ozarks Spotlight. My producers, Taylor Worley and Jay Stevens, as well as all of you for joining us. If you happen to miss all or part of today's program, you can always find it in its entirety on the MidwestFamilySpringfield.com website, the AroundTheOzarks.com site, or our new app for Around the Ozarks, which can be found in Apple apps or in Android apps. You can hear and view today's show as well as all the earlier shows this year and last year. I'm Scott Meier, and remember, every day's a gift, and enjoy life. Thanks.